presentation, I think it's going to be done by Lori Fox from MRB, consultants, engineers, but also with the help, I think, of our patron, our deputy DPW commissioner, and Paul, maybe you are involved in this a little bit too. So I'm going to hand the town off to that triumvirate.
Thank you. All right. Yes, we're back again to give you a little update about the Vosburg pump station. We've talked about this several times and the condition that's in, and they really did need to really get this upgraded. And we did talk to, we worked with MRB in the past to do an evaluation of it. We're just going to flip through some slides to refresh your memory. That is the station. And a little background. The station is almost 45 years old. In 21-22, we again completed a comprehensive evaluation. In June of 2024, we applied for a WIA grant. The grant was not received. Along with that, really to apply for the WIA grant, we had to do a bond resolution, $5.7 million, which is the engineer's estimate for 24-25, and we also completed a seeker, which was required for WIA. Winter of 2025, we started investigating other grant opportunities. And in March, we will be submitting for a congressionally directed spending fund. And that's what we're going to sort of talk about today. That's why Lori's here. So again, just some concerns. It is well beyond its useful life. Everything in there is just about original. Again, we have one pump that is unable to be serviced. It runs at I want to say 30% capacity. At that, we cannot remove it because the valves do not work. They cannot isolate it. I think we all know that in the past during wet weather events, we've had the building fill up with sewage up to the doors. I know Patty was here. She was there. She would definitely remember that. Again, leaking pipes, raw sewage on the floor. This is the wet well side. This is non-existent ventilation. This is where the hydrogen sulfides build up. Staff has to work in there. So it's not a great place, and those are the valves we're talking about that they don't move. So the components, that is the control system, looks like it's out of a World War I submarine, and that little piece of paper right there, and we should zoom in on it next time, that says do not change the controls. We had to write that on there because if we do, we'll lose the station. So, recommendations again, full rehab of the station, wet well structure, ventilation improvements, pumps, valves, piping, and a actual flow meter. Stations within this town are of 8 that don't have flow meters in them. We don't know what's coming in, we don't know what's going out. So, pretty important information, especially on this being our largest station that does pick up flow from Penfield as well. Wegmans, the Bay Road, Empire over there, Walmart down into the Dugway, all of that pumps up through that station. Some of it goes to county, some of it comes to us. So pretty important station for the area. Again, antiquated controls. And I will touch on this one, the emergency power generator. So generators that are used in critical situations and pump stations are categorized as critical. Hospitals, things like that, are changed out every 15 years. This is 45. So, and again, just more of the stuff that needs to be done. Again, our 2025 estimated cost is $5.7 million, and that was our submission that we bonded for WIA. So, I'm going to turn this over to Lori. and she's going to talk about the grant opportunities which would help this project along immensely. So.
Thank you. Yeah, so Paul Sheffield came to me because he's been working on this project for quite a long time. And he just asked me for my recommendation because it's something that we might be able to look at grants, right, my business and whatnot. So he was just asking me, what can we do if it's funded? We started talking about the project a little bit. And I went through it for the town, I kind of made up a little funding scenario. We just looked at potential funding grants for water or sewer projects. And pretty much everything on here is a potential grant that you could potentially apply for. So once you start looking into these, then you have to start looking at are we eligible or are we competitive. So we went through the list, and I'll start actually kind of in the middle. One of the first things we do is we look at the town's MHI, because a lot of times there's an MHI, which is a median household income. A lot of times, depending on it, some grants, it depends on what your MHI is. So for a USDA grant, in order to be eligible for a grant, you're going to be able to $56,000, and you guys are 80. So right off the bat, USDA, we can't do it. You qualify for a loan, you don't want to loan, but you have to pay it back. We're looking for grant funds. Same thing with community development block grant, because if your MHI is so high, you're not eligible to apply for that. So then we started looking, at the water quality improvement, and that goes along with the WIA grant. So the town applied for a WIA grant in 2024. What we're seeing with that grant in the last few years is pretty much 50% of your score is water quality. So there's no MHI requirements for the WQIP or for the WIA, but you have to show some kind of documented water quality issues. And even though this project does have water quality to it, it's according to the funding or the funding scenarios and the scoring of it, we don't qualify enough to get the points to make an application competitive. And that's what happened in 2024. It was a good application, it just didn't hit the priorities of New York State right now, which they're going for water quality, they're trying to get rid of emerging contaminants, they're working on PFAS and whatnot, trying to get that out of the water and the sewer. So we didn't really qualify. You're eligible to apply, but you're not competitive. There's a new grant, Pro Housing Capital Improvement Grant. Again, you could apply for this, but if the project does not support new housing and actually new affordable housing, you're not going to be competitive for that. So we kind of throwing around different things, and so I kind of mentioned to Paul, congressionally directed spending are coming out very soon. And I think that it's a good program. It's a little bit different. It's not your traditional program. It's a program that goes through the politicians. And so there's really no scoring. It's just what is important to the politicians. So we were just trying to, with everything that we have here, with all the information that we have, we thought we could put in a really good application. And, it's a kind of a regional project because you take some close to Penfield and Webster County. They kind of take a lot of the bullet points that I think we would need. And so because we wouldn't really qualify for any of the other programs, we thought let's try to put in an application with the politicians. So on March 31st, the Senate portals are open now. So that's Schumer and Gillibrand. Those are open now, so we'll be applying by March 31st. And then we're waiting here when the House portal will run these portals. The information that we're using for the Senate portals will basically just take that and apply. And one of the biggest things is letters of support. The town and the staff has just come all together, and we're trying to get as many letters as we can, because that's one of the most important things is, a good application, but then letters of support showing the community, showing the region, showing local politicians are all in favor of this project.
So who's working on getting letters, or we're not that far along in the process yet?
We are that far along, because time is of the essence. We created a sort of a target sheet, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We sent out 36 letters Tuesday. I lost track of the date. It's a little bit crazy. We've got 9 back. We've got, I believe, 3 or 4 already committed. today was a day to follow up on those. So we do have some very large Rochester organizations already submitted letters.
Great.
So I'm glad John led with that question. I promise I did not ask him to ask that question. It's great. Because how many people are you assigned, Maria? 3. Art, you got a lot of commercial people in Penfield.
Yeah.
7 for me?
I said I don't even know the number, but yeah, you got a handful too.
Bridget Harvey took all the politicians because she saw the 3 county legislatures, which are Dondorfer, Johns, and Chardy, have the same chief of staff. And Bridget knows that chief of staff, went to, and they're all in.
Right.
Because we have to apply for this by March 31st, and we really just had our first meeting on this on March 11th. We have 20 days to have MRB write a grant package that has a chance to win $4 million. And Lori and Paul were very upfront on this based on their experience of having had previous clients that went for this and you navigated them. The letter of support thing is uber important. So it was 36, 37, and we've assigned them and we've got to follow up. And, it's going okay.
Well, I'm glad that you follow up before we do any projects in our town. We wanted to apply for grants first, and that would be wonderful. I know that with the grants, you gotta be specific, how to apply them. And I do have a couple of names and connections, if you do need them, and to see if I can try to help, expedite it, and hopefully we can get that, secure for us. And also too, may I please ask the questions? We've been talking about this pump station for a while, this before I got elected. Is this now the final stage? So are there any additional or anything else that we're going to be doing this with this now that we applied for?
Is this, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Oh,
Is this the final
it's
stage
like
of the pump station?
Of the pump station, this is it, right? This is where we're going to be managing and have tried to, taking care of it and, make it efficient because of these,
That is the intent, absolutely. The entire station is 45 years old. The entire station needs to be rehabbed.
Yes.
It'll include some of the force main, some of the manholes up the road, the air relief valves. That is the intent, as we go into these pump station projects, and really, a lot of the larger ones, is to encompass everything. So it's set for, 20, 30 years. I can't imagine myself coming back here, and if we did this today, coming back here next year and saying, hey, we need to do this on it. So the intent is it's all encompassing, it's all the same age, it's all obsolete. That is the intent.
So to that point, Art, I know that I took a tour of the pump station, I think it was last year or the year before. And the conditions in there are what we're seeing in the photos of your presentation. So my question with respect to this congressionally directed spending is when would that decision be made? Because we're at the point, in my opinion, and I'm sure you're going to agree, we need to move now. Because if there's a catastrophic failure in that pump station, and the conditions are there for that to happen, in my opinion, when do you think a decision will be made with respect to this?
So that's a great point. I'm going to jump back to Jenny first, though. So we have looked, Paul Chatfield and I have looked at this PR, if you will. Is there a place to cut out, right? Because obviously, it's expensive. And we looked at it, and I'm going to tell you, can we cut 20,000 here, 40,000 there, and is everything right to game of Tetris? And can we cut $100,000? We probably could, but that's $100,000, I'm gonna come back next year and say I need $150,000 for it. So we did look at that. John, you're absolutely right, and this is right for a failure. We had, last year again, we've had to have parts machined for those pumps.
Right.
Yeah, it's failed, portions of it failed, and it just continued to fail. So as far as the CBS, I'm gonna let Lori talk about that.
Yeah, so it could take a while before we know, but initially we'll know, probably by May. We'll submit this in March, I believe, and the final guidance isn't come out by the timeline for the politicians hasn't come out. So what happens is we submit our application to the politicians. They go through everything, and they pick the projects that they want to put through. Once they pick those, I think it's, last year was May, I'm not sure what the time is this year. They have to post the projects that they're choosing to put through for potential funding by May, and they'll notify the town if it's chosen by either Schumer, Joe Grant, or Morelli. And it could be chosen by all three, or it could be chosen by none. We don't know, but the fact that we're getting all these letters of support and everything, I think I'm hoping that's going to knock us up to the top of the pile and so that we make it through. So if we make it through that first round of funding, that doesn't mean you're going to get awarded. That just means we've made it through. And then what happens is it has to go through a bunch of other approvals and whatnot. So hopefully by May we would know if we've made it on anybody's list. If we haven't, then well, we're done at that point. If we have, then it's just a waiting game of trying to find out. And then if they pass the federal budget in October like they're supposed to, when the federal year starts, we could potentially know if it's made it through all those rounds. And usually if you make it through each, there's like certain things like the Senate has to vote on it, the House has to vote on it, then other people have to vote on it. And it does take a while, but I think we were talking we're going to put the money for construction. So we could start design now without having any impact on the funding. So you can start some design now if you wanted to. But again, we may not know for a year if you're actually getting funding, if we make it through that first round.
So here's my next question, and when it comes to the political aspect of it, this could drag on and on and on, and we do not have that time. Would you agree with that, Art?
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that too.
So
That's
would it
kinda
be in the best interest of the town to start the design process now? Because we've already voted on, the bond, I believe, right? So we go ahead with the design. We're waiting, and we're waiting. Make it past the first phase, the second phase, the third phase, and now we're a year out. At what point do we say, we can't wait any longer, we need to start construction? Because I think we were there a couple years ago.
We were there before I started in this seat, yes.
We're lucky nothing's happened thus far. Like nothing,
It has.
it has, but
Yeah,
nothing
but
that has
nothing
been
major.
super
Right,
catastrophic.
But,
It's rough.
so my question is, from a timeline standpoint, we know that's gonna take a long time. Have you set a hard date as to, we're not gonna wait any longer, we're gonna move ahead with the improvements?
I don't think, in all due respect, I don't think I can do that. I think my role as a department head, and I share the information. I would absolutely agree with you. I would encourage that we move forward with the design. The design will take 3 to 7 months.
Right.
So, there's a big chunk of time. Do I think technology will change in 18 months? Hopefully we get a grant. I don't think it will change tremendously. We might change a pump here or there, something like that, but absolutely, to spend that 3 to 7 months to get this design, this is not a quick station to design, a lot of flow, there's a lot of controls in it. So yeah, I would encourage us to move forward with this.
I would say, I would totally agree with you that we need to be proactive with respect to the design initiation process, rather than being reactive, because being a catastrophic failure, we're in big trouble.
So,
I have a different question, if I may.
you go for it.
How much money is available for all of the applications? And like, this is a pump station, so I don't know that that's very sexy or very exciting. So where does a pump station rank in that weighting? Like, I don't know what kind of impact that will have as well.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of what we have in the application is about if it had a catastrophic failure and what that's going to mean, the fact that it's a regional project. Water and sewer projects with the politicians have been very popular. It's pretty much everything that you got funded. Even just the fact that we're doing some money on this is something that machines right up to the top of the pile. You know, again, it's how we present that information too. And we're talking about just, you know, regional failure, just the amount of development going on in town, everything going on. I think, you know, if that goes, you guys control. So
How much money is there to be doled out? Is there an amount? Is there a cap?
they don't really tell you that. So the House representatives can put through 15 projects. So they go through and they pick the top 15. The senators can put through as many as they want. So I don't know that there's really any cap or what. I'm not sure how all that works because there's different categories too. So you have to put a project in and it has to fit in within one of the federal categories. So water and sewer are definitely very popular. There's other categories, so I think it depends on, I don't know that there's one answer. It's not like with the WQIP, we know they have 25 million and that's what it's going to be. This is kind of, who knows?
Okay.
They don't really tell you that information.
Do you know
I
what
agree
the
with John
process
that we need to move forward with the design phase, because this is just it's a ticking time bomb that has extraordinary repercussions if something happens.
Do you know what the estimated cost of the design is?
I don't have it in front of me. I think it was just short of 400,000.
Okay.
Um,
So, Paul, to your,
You're done.
my next question is, I just answered my question. We're good.
Getting back to Jenny, and if you put tonight for a first thing tomorrow morning, please send me any information you can.
Because I know, because a couple of weeks ago, I know as a liaison for the clerk too, we just been awarded for $44,191 grant for our machine. And like I said, you know, I know that Maria and everything that have been, you know, doing it, but we had some hiccup. But thank God I got invited to, you know, the governor budget meeting. And I, you know, was lucky to have spoken with a couple of their staffer. I explained our situation and they looked into it and we got the grant. You know, I mean, a week after, so maybe it's timing or whatever. If anything that we can do or I can help, you know, with my connection and whatever, I would love to do.
That'd be
Because
great.
that's what it is about, rebuilding relationship and rebuilding connection, that's what.
That would be great.
So can I'm getting, I think that Councilwoman Wright says we should move forward with getting a resolution in the next board meeting on authorizing design. I think that's what you're saying too, Jen.
Correct.
Jenny, would you say, are you giving me the instructions the supervisor to set up with them for April 3rd's board meeting to have a resolution for design?
Like I said, you know, we've been talking about this for years, right? And this is very important. And we don't want any, you know, emergency or something like that, it's gonna cost the town more. So I think it's fine.
Okay.
I would, you know, accept that.
Then I will work with Kyle and Art and Paul and Lori and Paul Chatfield, you know, how that resolution is structured to start, it's really the start of the process. And that's what we will do on April 3rd. And I think that's a wise move.
So I'll ask the question. Is this something we can include in our application, and does it current or set?
Maybe starting, is that
That's
right?
fine.
Absolutely, we're going to put that in there. We won't be able to ask for funding for it, and you just can't start anything before you're awarded
Sure.
anything, but we can show project readiness, we're ready to go, this is an important thing, so yeah, we can absolutely.
Yeah, and I think as we all know, you know, from the and all the other grants we've applied for, right, the further along, we are in the benefits, that's how much we'll find out, but
But we still continue to apply for the grants.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna ask this question out of ignorance because I have no idea about the grant process and what you provide. But I think some of these pictures would be very beneficial as to show the current condition of this
Oh,
pump
yeah, actually,
station and the
yeah, we're gonna attach this with the application, with the
Great.
license forward. Normally, we would attach, the engineering report and things like that, thing, and I know the politicians aren't gonna read it, or even understand it, so we won't include that. But yeah, if there's any other documentation or anything that you have that you want us to include all that.
Yeah, definitely include the pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, and I think we have that other presentation also.
That's correct, yeah, we have a bunch of pictures.
Great.
Yeah.
And also you have to be specific to, like the one that we have for the work, it's going to be educational. That's what that's what they told us, and that's where they went to that portal, they're able to do the grant, give us the grant.
Yes.
Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you. That's fantastic. We've got some work to do in the next 2 weeks leading up to April 3rd. We'll do it.